Jesus and the path to enlightenment. Jesus and the path to enlightenment. Today's insight, today's lesson. Abide in me as I abide in you. Abide in me as I abide in you. Applying the teaching, you will be free when you no longer see yourself as separate or in isolation. Jesus often makes statements that are inspiring because only the Messiah could say them. When he says, the Father and I are one, or abide in me as I abide in you, we don't apply those words to ourselves, yet we should. Consciousness is a shared phenomenon. No one is isolated or separate from it. And when Jesus speaks from the level of spirit, he's speaking for all human beings. On the spiritual path, you become less isolated as an individual and more universal as an expression of consciousness. This change occurs because in truth, everything is happening in consciousness. Where else? Where else could experience be happening? I realize how convincing it is to see yourself as a unique person standing apart from others. How can it be that they exist in you and you in them? I'm in you, you are in me. Consider a simple example. When I remember my mother's face, it exists in my awareness, conjured up in the mind. But the same is true when my mother was alive and I met her in person. The photons of light that hit my retina and registered in my brain as an image of her face created a delay. It took only a few milliseconds for my brain to register that I was seeing my mother. But by the time I did, and it did, she was a memory. The image in my brain came after much light. Therefore, even in life, there's nowhere else to find her except in me. My mother is in me. What holds true for the sense of sight also holds true for the senses. It's my study after the fact. But unlike the sight of my mother, her spirit comes from shared source, all part of God or the divine, the soul, the Holy Spirit. He said he was referring to his essence, the state of separation. The soul level of our existence appears to be far away and a distant point of arrival. Rest of qualities like empathy and compassion by entering on that sensation, by sharing and in to experience of literally abiding in someone. Divine consciousness is this transformation to its final end. You are in everyone else, and everyone else is in you. Instead of perceiving any human being as an individual person, you see them as essence being. So the next installment will abide in me as I abide in you.